Welcome to so for you guys that don't know, I've been climbing every single day for like 34, 33, 35 days now. And I thought it was about time I took a rest day, but for me, I would completely lose my shit if I do absolutely no form of physical activity for that day. So today is gonna be a very, very active rest day. And let me I'll take you through what that seems like, feels like, and I'll explain why I'm doing everything I'm doing. And hopefully you garner something from this very, very active rest day. From my perspective, it won't be too format regimented. So let's just hop into it. Now, obviously, because I am a climber, all my rest days include some form of light hang boarding. And right now, all I'm doing is I'm just applying a little bit of pressure down, making sure my fingers feel good, and I'll switch through the grips. And my feet will be on the ground the entire time I'm doing this, just because it's a particular lighter day for me. If I want to pull a little bit harder, I'll just literally pull a little bit harder. But because it's a light day, I'm not going to do too much. Now I'll follow that with just some very, very light pull-ups, slow, control, full range of motion. I'm thinking maybe 1, 2, 3. That's not bad. So right now, what you're seeing, what I'm doing is, if you look right here in the small of my back, in the lower back, what I'm trying to do is I'm actually twisting my hips, stretching out the left side of my spine, and then I'll recenter it, and then I'll twist it right to stretch out the right side of my spine. Yeah. So as you can see from here, I'm going to twist. Just a little bit. Twist to the other side, just a little bit. Let the hips sink, just a little bit, and just like that. And doing that just makes my spine feel nice and happy, just because, yeah, here, let me do one more pull-up. Not bad. I'll hit some more finger stuff. Just nice and light. I'll superset that with just some very basic push-ups, nothing too serious. I will be trying to push my shoulders a little bit over my hands. And I'll go down, come up. I think I'll try to do like 3. Again, nothing too serious. Feeling a nice motion, and that feels good. I might hold it in the halfway position for a little bit. Hold at the top. Protraction, retraction, a little bit more protraction. Do a push-up while my shoulder blades are protracted. Do a push-up while my shoulder blades are retracted, just to get through the motions and working it all well. So while hanging from the pull-up bar, if you want to stretch out your spine a little bit more, which you can also do. So from the dead hang position, you can contract the abs a little bit, and then let it completely relax, and then put a slight arch in the lumbar, and then repeat that motion. Just nice, right? Because you're just trying to elongate the spine, going forwards and backwards. You can kind of think of it as cat-cow, just for the lumbar region. And of course, me being me, I will be doing a good amount of finger curls. I always think these are great for lubricating the joint, making them feel good. I'll do it with 4 fingers, 3 fingers, and because my ring finger has been feeling a little bit tweaky, I'll hit it with monos, just like this, making sure that I feel a little bit of a pain. Like if the pain is like 2 out of 10, I think that's a good thing. Just make sure my finger's still there. But the fact that I can still move it, I think is an even better idea. So I'm not exactly trying to avoid the pain entirely. I'm just trying to feel it, make sure that I can work through it, and that I'm not mentally afraid to use the finger. I'm sure you can't tell which ring finger is slightly injured, so I'm not gonna tell you. Now, another way you could do hang boarding, if you just want to like activate your biceps a little bit, is normally everybody will hang board like this, which is the normal valid way of doing it. But you simply just go around it, behind it like this, and then you start hanging. You will immediately feel your biceps become more engaged. Very similarly to how if you do a pull-up like this, as opposed to say like this, you'll notice your biceps are more engaged when your hands are supinated. You can think about supination as if you're holding a bowl of soup and pronation as the other method. So if you just want to get a little bit difference or variety in your hangboarding, I recommend just coming beneath it, turning your hands around, and now you're in this underclane type of supination type of hang. Just a quick tidbit. And if you're in a situation where you're using like hanging hangboards like me, and you're just working one arm at a time, but you find that when you crank really hard or you pull, that the slippage is particularly high just due to the instability of this, what I like to do is I'll just take my other hand and I'll just actively push it into my fingers so that when I pull, the stability is impeccable. And of course, I'll run through the variations, especially when you do one finger, it tends to slip away like that. So when pushing it, it makes it really good, and you can crank down as hard as you can with that one finger, just like this, which I have been doing for a while now. Now, besides all that, I do think like just a very good passive or slightly active dead hanging is just phenomenal for being a human being. Just getting a feeling for your weight in your hands, making sure your grip stays nice and decently strong always feels good. Not to mention the dead hang is a great stretch for the pectoralis, latissimus dorsi, and all that good climbing stuff. I also think if you really pinch your shoulder blades back, it's an excellent stretch for the shoulders as well. And therefore, I tend to dead hang for quite a good amount of time, but I'm really bad at dead hanging, so I can only hold it for a short burst of moments. But I'll do that quite a lot. Now, after doing all that shenanigan for a while, I like to move to like a little light stretching for maybe 30 minutes. Just nice and filling it out. And I don't have a fixed routine, simply because when I stretch, I like to just go with whatever I feel like needs to be stretched out the most. For me, predominantly, I always hit the pancake, which is just that. That's probably the #1 stretch I've done in my entire life. Probably my favorite one too, maybe because I'm semi-good at it. I'm not so sure, but I've always been doing it my entire life. In addition, I basically just focus on primarily two stretches. There's the pancake right here. And then the SQS, just like this. Really good for the quadriceps. Those are basically the two primary stretches I focus on. I find having 10,000 variations of progressions and regressions is a little bit redundant. I like to think about it that way. I think when it comes down to stretching, the more times you do one stretch once, the better you become at it, as opposed to doing 1,000 stretches once. You know what I'm trying to say here. Let me get a little bit more warmed up and I'll show you a slightly more serious stretchifilation. I actually got lazy and didn't want to stretch super fantastically today, so I'm not going to stretch super fantastically. But something that I do like to do pretty often is I like to flex my muscles in accordance and make sure that they're all still working. So we're going to go with gastrocnemius, about right there. My tibialis anterior, right there, a little bit at the top. And then vastus medialis, right there. Vastus lateralis. Oh, that one's a little bit harder to hit. Vastus lateralis, come on. I can do medialis pretty well. There we go. And then lateralis, come on. Oh, yeah, there we go. And then my abs, just the left side. Left pec. And then just the forearms. Nice and easy. And I'll do that throughout my whole slightly stretching thing. So let's say I'm stretching like this, right? I'm stretching and I'm gonna flex my quads. Just real nice. That's my left one. I wonder if you can see the right one. Right quad. And if I want to flex my abdominals, and then my right pec, left pec. And if I just want to hit my forearms real quick, like that, and just doing this lets me know that my body's still working and I still have good control over it. Kind of gives me a sense of grounding, if you know what I mean. Obviously, I did a lot more stuff off camera, but that was basically my active rest day, which wasn't that active, which I did try to do on purpose because I do have a tendency of going overboard. And on days like this, I try to be as lazy and sloth-like as possible. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, partner.